see more rolling in. That's good, good, good. We'll just give it a few more minutes and we will get rolling. All right, we'll get started in about 60 seconds. Let the last few trickle in. And we'll get rolling. And no one's required to speak up for this part. Just a thumbs up will do, or raise your hand. But can someone just confirm to me that you're hearing me and you can see my screen? Thank you. Thank you to you both. I appreciate you. All right. Give it another 30 seconds and we'll just get rolling. Okay, everybody. Well, let me be the first to welcome you to this session today. My name is Tyler Kowalski. I am the Senior Admissions Counselor here at the Graduate School at Vanderbilt University. And today we're going to be talking about housing in Nashville life and how that might look for you as you join our university. Just to give you guys a heads up of what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about welcoming you to Nashville, the idea of our location, some general stats to help you kind of situate what type of city we are and what's available to you. We'll go over some of the offices that we have to assist you in this process. And then we'll go through Nashville bit by the area. And we have this separated based on things you can walk to, things that you could bike to, and then things that would be a bit more of a drive to kind of help situate your housing search and also give you an idea of some different things you can do. We'll talk about the Broadview, which is our official affiliated graduate student housing. We'll go over some public transport options, some tips and resources, and then we'll finish at the end of this with questions. Now, I know a lot of you may have a variety of questions right now about the living expenses in Nashville or what to do or anything of that nature. And we're going to do as best as we can to get through all of those. So please, as things are popping up, put your questions in the chat. We will have a section at the end to go over that. I'm the only person here, so no one will be monitoring the chat as I'm presenting. So just make sure those questions, you hold on to them and we'll get to them at the end. So without further ado, let me be the first to welcome you to Nashville. We are affectionately called Music City, USA. And that's because, I mean, you can't walk 10 feet in this city without running into a musician, a concert, or some sort of live music event going on. So if you love music, no matter what type, be that rock and roll, country, rap, EDM, anything like that, we'll find something for you. And the benefit of being Music City, USA is on the concert front, literally everyone you can think of comes here and usually comes here for a multitude of nights. So joining our university means that your favorite artists will be around you at some point in your time here. Excuse me. Our population is just under 700,000. We are the 21st largest city in the country. So that's, it's big enough to have everything that you might want and need, but it's small enough to where you're not going to be overwhelmed. It's still a very drivable city. It's largely safe, and everything that you need is going to be right at your fingertips. To give you an idea of the cost of living, all of these rents are within the city limits of Nashville. Now, a lot of our students do decide, particularly those who aren't, the hugest fan of living in a city environment, decide to live maybe 10 to 15 minutes outside of the city, where prices do decrease a little bit. But giving you an idea of what you should be looking at in terms of median rent for a studio apartment, all the way up to a 2-bedroom, it's going to range between roughly $1,400 to roughly $1,900. And again, those are just the medians. So, when you connect with your peers or you're on your own housing search, you're likely to find better options out there. And we're also seeing a decrease in renting prices over the next few months as we expect them to continue to go down. And then to give you a sense of what you're going to be spending on a utility front, the average utility bill, inclusive of all of them, is roughly $160 per month. So relatively affordable, and particularly with the stipends you're afforded, it's very manageable. Moving on to the resources that we have for you in terms of graduate student housing, first and foremost, it's our O'Hare office, so the Office of Housing and Residential Experience. They're going to be your best friends in this search outside of your academic department. Your academic department is going to have a variety of resources and ability to connect you with continuing graduate students to see what options are out there and what their students have done previously. However, with the O'Hare Office of Housing and Residential Experience, they can help provide you additional resources for the housing search. They do have a marketplace where there are some housing options on there as well. And then they also have resources in terms of your search for a roommate if that's something you're looking for. You can find their link right there, offcampushousing.vanderbilt.edu. And I will be sharing these slides with you after the presentation so that you can access that directly. On the roommate front, we do recommend, if you're comfortable with that, trying to find a roommate. Just from cost perspective, it helps to keep everything as low as possible. But we do have a large proportion of our graduate students, especially those who just want their own space, who are able to operate in a single home environment, no problem. Going into this overview that we're going to talk about in terms of the areas of Nashville, you're going to hear me name them a lot. And to kind of give you some sort of perspective on where these are and where they are in relation to Vanderbilt, you see the gold V there, that's us. And then everything that we're going to be talking about today is spread out around the city, with the West End and Midtown areas being those that are the closest to us. And then we'll talk more about East Nashville, Berry Hill, and the Nations, which are a bit more of a drive. Most of our students will spend most of their time in the closest area around Nashville, not around Vanderbilt, but we do find that a lot of our students decide to live more towards that Berry Hill or down towards that Bellevue area that we'll get into. Looking into these specific areas around Nashville, the first set we'll talk about will be those that we consider walking distance. Walking distance is anything within a mile. So, for me, I'm a big walker myself. So I like to get out of the office, walk down to the West End, walk down to Centennial Park, and really enjoy the area. It's very pretty, it's very welcoming, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it significantly. Starting with the West End, which is one of the areas closest to campus, the top attractions there would be the Parthenon, Centennial Park, Three Brothers, the Vanderbilt University Bookstore, the Graduate Hotel, and White Limousine. All of these provide a variety of different food options, shopping, attractions, and things to do, as well as some history in the case of the Parthenon. And then if you're looking to live in the West End area, our students tend to recommend Ackland West End Living, the Grove Richland Apartments, Bristol West End, Mayfair West End, and the West End Village. Looking at another area, which is within walking distance, again, under 1 mile, we have downtown and Broadway. That's probably what many of you know Nashville for. And with that being such an active and vibrant scene, the living areas are less available, particularly because a lot of them are either hotels or B&Bs or things like that. Most of our students do not live on Broadway, but there are a variety of attractions there that a lot of you will spend some time on outside of just the honky tonks and bars. We've got the Ryman Auditorium, Broadway itself, full of a variety of live music venues, Fifth and Broadway, the Assembly Food Hall, Bridgestone Arena if you wanted to catch a concert or go see an NHL game, the Country Music Hall of Fame, the famous Goo Goo Chocolate Company, and then Ascend Amphitheater for a variety of other concerts and events or comedians as well. This, again, is primarily an activity area, so there are limited housing options. And because of those limited housing options, we don't really have a ton of student recommendations on that front. Another area within walking distance would be the Hillsborough Village. The top attractions here being Fido, Pancake Pantry, and Biscuit Love, some of the best breakfasts I've ever had in my life. Grilled Cheesery, Jenny's Famous Ice Cream, Barista Parlor, which is one of the better cups of coffee in the city, Molly Green, Posh, and Crumble Cookies, because you can't go anywhere without a crumble cookie. And then if you're looking to live in these areas, our students recommend 1808 State Street, the Chardonnay, Village 21, Village Row, and the Hayes House. Now, as we get a little bit further outside of that walking distance, we get into what we determine as biking distance, or for some of you, it might be walking distance or a nice little jog. But this was anywhere within 1 to 3 miles from campus. So still very manageable, even if you didn't have a bike via ride share or friends who have a car, or a walk if you feel like a trek. But the Gulch, this is within that 1 to 3 mile range. They've got LA Jackson, Milk and Honey, Rudy's Jazz Room, Kane Prime, Pins Mechanical, which is a favorite amongst our graduate students for nights out, Bar Louie, Say Anejo, Station Inn, and Otaku Ramen. And the student housing options that are recommended by our graduate students here would be Crossroads at the Gulch, 805 Lee, Infinity Lofts, Harlow, and Albion in the Gulch. Furthering this biking distance area would be 12 South, with the top attractions being Frothy Monkey, another popular coffee chain within Nashville, Five Daughters Bakery, where you're going to have, if not the best, probably a top 3 donut of your life. Draper James, which is one of Nashville's favorite areas to shop. Edley's Barbecue, the Buttermilk Ranch, Bar Taco. And as you can see in the image here, there's a lot of different murals around that area, from the I Believe in Nashville to some other popular ones that you'll often see tourists and influencers alike lining up to take pictures with. So if you wanted to get any images with those, I would recommend checking that out in a weeknight when there's fewer tourists. If you're looking to live in this area, which is a lot of fun, 12th and Wedgwood, 12th South Apartments, 12th South Magnolia, the Chelsea condominiums, all of these 4 options seem to be the most highly recommended for our graduate student population. Now, as we expand beyond that 3 mile radius into anything further than that, we would determine that to be driving distance. Again, pretty cheap Ubers and Lyfts. If you have a car, it's very easily accessible. But these are places that you would not be walking to. You generally have to drive for. So looking at East Nashville, this would be where a lot of our artistic community is living. Some may call it a bit hipster, but if you love art, if you love a good cup of coffee, if you want to have a variety of different cuisines, East Nashville is going to be a great place to visit. Also, it's a great place to think about living. Looking at the top attractions there, the Pharmacy Burger Parlor, what I would rate as the #2 burger in Nashville. Butcher and Bee, if you're a vegetarian. Love and Exile, Mas Tacos Por Favor. Hawkers, which is a fun Asian fusion restaurant. 5 Points Pizza, which as a New Yorker myself, it's one of the only pizzas I think can be called pizza in the South. And then we've got Shelby Park, which is great. And if you wanted to use that as a running area, or if you're like me and you love to golf, there's a municipal course there, which is quite challenging, but a lot of fun. And if you're looking to live in this area, Amplify on Main, Stacks on Main, City View, and Clio are all grad recommended options. Particularly within East Nashville, there's a lot of for rent and for sale type by owners. So if you come to visit and you're perusing the area, it's always worth a drive down some of the streets to see what your options would be. But these are just some of the ones that our students have had success with in the past. The Nations, again, it's another popping area, slightly outside of that walking and biking distance, which is growing over time. Top attractions there being L&L Market, which if you want great Italian food, you want a great milkshake, a variety of shops, a bakery, it's got everything you might possibly need. There's Soul, Double Dogs, which is a Nashville staple. Stocking 51, the 51st Deli, if you want a stellar breakfast burrito. Bare Bones Butcher, the Nation's Bar and Grill, Penne Pazzi, which is within L&L Market and is one of the top Italian dinners I think I've ever had in my life. Frothy Monkey has another location here, as well as Culture & Co. If you're looking to live in this area, we would recommend Cortland at the Nation's Landing, the Union Apartments, and Knox at Metro Center. And the most famous mural in that area would be this one that you see here, which is if you want to check for scale, at the bottom left hand of it, there's a pickup truck. So you can kind of see this everywhere, and it's quite amazing that someone was able to create that. And then looking at Berry Hill, which is another popular destination for our artistic community, populated with a variety of murals, coffee shops, and other attractions such as Calypso Cafe, Hugh Baby's Big Machine Distillery and Tavern, Baja Burrito, Juice Bar, Funky Griddle, which is up and coming. It seems really fun because it's effectively a Korean barbecue style breakfast where you're provided the options to cook them for yourself at the table with a grill, and it's quite a blast. Sunflower Cafe, Stay Golden, and Cilantro Berry Hill are other great eateries. And then looking at the housing options in this region would be 2300 at Berry Hill, 8th and Berry Apartments, Bransford House Apartments, and Gale Lofts Apartments. And then looking at what I would say is probably our most popular graduate student living area, this would be Bellevue. It's a little over 3 miles from campus. It's I'd say roughly a 15 to 20-minute drive, depending on how far into Bellevue you are. And it's a popular graduate place because it's got everything you might need without all of that necessary hustle and bustle of being in a city, if that's not necessarily your perfect vibe. So you'll see where we've got the movie theater there. This is a wonderful shopping center with a variety of restaurants. Other attractions that you can find there would be Voodoo Gumbo, Cancun, Jonathan's Grill and Corner Pub, PDK Southern Kitchen and Pantry, and the Loveless Cafe. There's also a lot of different shopping options, a lot of great grocery stores, particularly if you have any sort of dietary conditions or you have any sort of concerns for finding vegetarian and vegan options. There's Sprouts Farmers Market and other more specialized areas where you can purchase food. Looking at housing options in this region, 865 Bellevue Apartments, the Lakes Bellevue, Windchase Bellevue, and the Sawyer at 1 Bellevue all provide really popular options amongst our population. Now, for those who are looking for specifically Vanderbilt affiliated housing, we do have the Broadview, which is within walking distance to campus. I'd say it's probably about a 2-minute walk to center of campus from the Broadview. It is, depending on the room and the setup that you choose, the rents range from $1,461 a month to just under $3,000. Additional fees will apply, and those will be overviewed by the leasing office. Amenities that are included with this, you can rent furniture, which if you're coming from a long distance or any of our international population, that can be a big benefit. There's a wellness center, an 8th and Rose coffee shop, which just opened up, which, if you can't tell, I love coffee, and it's a great cup. And then it's very pet friendly. So if you're coming with a 4-legged friend, they allow for that, which is very nice. And I know some of our incoming graduate students have been asking about that. So definitely consider the Broadview. If you wanted to learn more about that, you can reach out directly to their leasing office, which you can find on their website. Now, getting around Nashville is not super difficult. If you have a car, it's a very drivable city. If you're staying in the Vanderbilt area, it's very walkable. There's a multitude of scooters and Lyfts and Ubers to get you around, but there's also great public options for transportation. So all VU affiliated faculty, staff, and students can ride WeGo, which is our local bus, regional bus, and Star Train for free, as long as you have your physical ID card. When you get on campus, if you visit our Commodore Card office, they'll be able to assist you in getting that physical card. And then you can learn more about this on www.wegotransit.com. VU Transportation and Mobility website, which is vanderbilt.edu/movevu/transportation-options, will give you a variety of other resources in terms of transport, both on and off campus. And then for those of you who are coming with a ride, the university does have a variety of different parking options available. All come at a cost. We have our daily rate options if you're just going to be here for a few hours, for the whole day, an hourly rate if you're just in and out. But most of our students do decide to purchase an annual pass. Those values range year to year and should be able to be taken out of the payroll deduction so you don't have to deal with an immediate payment. Parking on campus is largely available for a variety of our garages, as well as a variety of lots all around campus. So generally, you shouldn't have too much trouble finding any sort of available parking, provided there's not some large scale event going on, which of course would disrupt anything. And now, after all of this, where do I go for help if I need other options? So yes, we've got our Vanderbilt O'Hare, which is the off-campus housing and residential experience office, which you can locate there. Public transport, that's handled by WeGo Transit. Our transportation and mobility website for other transportation and mobility concerns can be accessed there. And then our parking can be contacted directly at parking@vanderbilt.edu. And the last bullet point here is probably the most important, because this is a great area for us to start transitioning into utilizing your academic department as a resource in this front, particularly in connecting you with their current graduate students to learn more about what they have been doing for housing. Because as much of this data that we can collect is beneficial, students who have boots on the ground are experiencing this and know where to look for what can provide you some really great resources. So definitely don't be afraid to reach out to your graduate program coordinator, graduate program specialist, or your director of graduate studies or director of graduate recruitment to learn more about what is going on within their students. And now I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop this recording.